Alright, where did we stop just now? I will share my screen again. If there's any more who wants to join, please say. Don't chat because I cannot see your, if you chat. You need to like open your mic and then tell me. Okay, you need to help your friends. Okay. Right, so the first session we covered what is case study. Basically, when you do a case study, you have to cover all these important points, right? And normally, is a case study is a real life situation and it has unstructured problem. When we say unstructured, it means that it's everywhere, like life, right? Have you ever talked to your friend and then your friend was telling a problem, but the problem is like not only one problem, there are many problems to one, right? Your life also. So case study is like that. It's so you need to read everything and then structure them, right? And this actually, if you're able to do case study, it's good for your life as well. To handle your life, right? Sometimes you will be faced of a problem and you don't know how to solve the problem. Sometimes you just overwhelmed. You just feel like crying the whole month or you just want to give up, right? Uh, that is not the best solution. So as an engineer, we have given this tool. So this tool you can or use it for engineering and you can also use it for your life, right? So you can use it for your life, right? How to identify and how to come up with solutions to the problem. And don't be too, and when you solve a case study, you don't be emotional. So emotion shouldn't be part of the case study. So in your life as well, I don't know, I hate him or I don't care, that shouldn't be, we should be rational. So when you answer a case study, although you hate that person, you should be rational. In Islam, it's the same thing. We cannot pass a judgment based on our emotion. It must be factual. Right? In this case study is teaching us how to deal with the problem and to come up with solutions. And it's supposed to be in our life as well. If you have any problem, if you don't know how to solve it, you can follow these steps. And inshallah, you will find a solution. Okay.
Excuse me, madam. Can you please admit the students who are waiting in the waiting?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Done. Thank you. Right. So we have covered this and covered these three types of problems or issues. So please don't forget to identify which one is factual, conceptual, and conflicting values or moral. If you're not sure, it's fine. Make sure if you're not you are not sure whether it's values or moral or conceptual issues, you can put that I'm not sure whether this is be part of moral or conceptual issues. But the most important to write it there, right? But you think it's moral because of what? So you just justify why you think it may be close to moral because of what. Okay, so that's how you do it. So you need to, because a case study you cannot defend whatever you write is whatever I will assess. So if you want anything that you want the examiner to know, you need to put it there. Okay. So methods of moral problem solving. Okay, now we are talking about the third one, moral problem and how to solve. The others, for example, the other two, factual and conceptual, there are many other. You can just think and then write down the solution. For example, can we stop for a while? I need to answer this. Right. Okay. UIA called me. Don't know why I asked her to call again. Where was I? Yeah. So for factual issues and conceptual issues, you can, what do you call it, think of an answer like that. So it's straightforward. But values or moral sometimes is not, is very subjective, very subjective. So sometimes you don't know how to assess the problem. So one way, there are three methods over here. So you can choose which one to use, or you don't want to choose, up to you. So this is just a tool. Whether you want, you can use it, or you don't want to use it, it's fine. You can choose. Because sometimes
Madam, sorry.
yes.
I just want to ask, do we need to categorize the problem falls into what category or just listing out the problems?
You, the problems, yes, you have to categorize. Yang ni kan, yang sebelum ni, these three you need to categorize. Okay, there are three category. So you need to categorize. If you're not sure which one is it, factual should be very clear. If you got the factual wrong, memang I will deduct marks lah. Factual should be anything factual inside the case study which is clear cut. There's no doubt about the factual issues. Conceptual issue, something that you are not sure of, right? There's a disagreement or conflicting of certain things, it should be in conceptual issues. Conflicting moral and spiritual or belief is in the third category. Boleh? Amirul? Okay.
Yes, okay.
Alright. So where was I? Now three methods of moral problem solving. Okay, so if you're not sure morally what to do, you can use either three methods, right? So you can use it if it's applicable. So choose which one, or if you don't want to use it, it's fine, as long as you have a good method on solving the problem. Number one is line drawing. Line drawing technique is especially useful for situations in which the applicable moral principles are clear, but there seems to be a great deal of grey area about which ethical principle applies. So to understand this better is something like this, right? You bribery, rasuah, bribery. What constitute a bribery? If I give, say, I give a Lokman, I give you, I give you what? Saya belanja makan lah. I will pay for your food, for lunch, for helping me to design a project. Will that consider bribery? Or I give like Fauzan, I give Fauzan, I receive this money of like 100,000 ringgit. Okay, I give you the money, can you help me with the project? And Fauzan is working inside the company of that project. Okay, and Lokman also working. So how do we, what do you call it, justify whether it's a bribery or not? You can see here, it's actually part of conceptual problem. It's not only moral, right? So because it's the what is the definition of bribery? Okay, actually, if you go to Board of Engineers Malaysia, they have, you go into the manual, you can read there are what you call definition of bribery in Malaysia, and the definition of bribery in Board of Engineers Malaysia may be different in the Board of Engineers in Egypt or in Nigeria, right? So because it will bind by the law, so you need to know and you need to find out. For example, here, if you don't know, the features of bribery can be gift size, or is it big or small? You know, as a lecturer, if you give me a present, right? You give me, I don't know, you went back to your country, you go buy some food, right? I like food. So when you come back, you bring me food before the exam, right? Is that considered bribery or no? Can I take or no? Who can answer? Can I take or not? If you bring back from your kampung food for me and it's before the exam, can I accept or no? Who wants to answer? Or your house have a lot of durian and you know I like durian, so you give me durian before the exam. Is that considered bribery or no?
Bribery.
Bribery?
Yes.
Why?
I think yes, it's
Why you
like
consider bribery?
Bribery is like a rewards that will affect the result of your request or to get something. You give reward to get something illegally. So if I give you durian, then you give something that
I
should
don't
be
say that I
not.
will give you something. You give me durian, but I don't say that I will give you good marks in the exam. Is that still considered bribery?
No.
I think no.
In terms of food is hard to justify in bribery. In terms of money, maybe.
Okay, so there's a lot of discussion. Even in Pencegah Rasuah Malaysia (SPRM), Suruhanjaya Pencegah Rasuah Malaysia. What's in English? What's in English? SPRM? Anybody? Google lah. Tell me SPRM in English. Huh? What is it? Commission?
Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission.
Apa? Sorry?
Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission.
Okay, in Malaysia we have Malaysian Anti-Corruption. What satu? Anti-Corruption what?
Commission.
Commission. Yes, we have like a group of people, a commission that were on anti-corruption, and part of the anti-corruption is bribery. Okay, and they keep on revising what is bribery. So and as for example, me, a government servant, the government has put like if it's less than certain ringgit, it's not considered bribery. Okay, food is okay. That's why if you see people nowadays, instead of giving money, they give food or fruits. That's not considered bribery. But if you give a whole a whole farm of fruits, that is bribery lah kan. But if you give like a few just to eat, it's not in Malaysia, it's not considered bribery. So so that's why bribery can be is very quite loose. So it depends on the gift size, how much money involved. If you belanja, if you eat like one or small, the amount is not big, it's fine. But if you go to, I flew you to Maldives to eat dinner over there, then there'll be a problem. Timing, as I said, before the exam, after the exam, it will also affect. Reason why you do the thing, responsibility for decision, product quality, product cost. So what is line drawing? It means that you do like this, drawing like this. So you put the feature, the gift size, large or small. Then it's very subjective lah. Dia memang not it tries to quantify the subjective. So that you can mark it, is it closer to large or closer to small. So just put it there, and then at the end you evaluate. Oh, they are more towards on the bribery side and less on the not bribery. So you conclude. So whatever the problem is actually bribery, something like that. Okay, this one method. It's not very technical, but at least it can help you to see visually whether it's closer to bribery or not bribery. Okay, another method is called flow charting, and for us engineering students, we are very familiar with flow chart. So how does that? So we can use flow chart to analyze our ethical problems. So visually, for example, Union Carbide would like to build a plant in Bhopal. Are safety laws in India as strict as in US? Yes or no? Yes. If yes, then design plant as in US. But no, then you go to another. No, you go to another. Yes, something like that. So this is another way to come up with a solution for a problem. Okay, it flows like logical flow. You answer yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. If yes, what? If no, what? Then it goes on. Okay. And the third one, satu lagi apa? The third one is creative middle way solution. So line drawing is very visual. You can make the line, you draw which one is closer to what. Flow chart, you make a flow chart of the problems. From the flow chart, you can come up with a solution. In one way, two method. And the third one is creative middle way. Creative middle way solution is that Um, you take the you negotiate. Okay, you negotiate the ways. So for example, there's no right or wrong. So you say this problem like that, this problem is like this. So considering everything, justification, the best way is this, something like that. So it's very subjective. You can read it on your own. It's a solution that attempts for a compromise that will work for everyone. It's a compromise solution. Okay, so there's no. You just need to creatively think what are the solutions. Okay. So you try to make everybody happy. But sometimes you cannot make everybody happy, then in the end you have to make the hard choice. The hard choice means you say, in the end I have to submit the report to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Committee. That's a hard choice because when you do that, that person will go to jail. Right? The company might be closed. That's the hard choice. But if creative middle way say, okay, maybe I can still go to the boss and talk about this. I can try to do that. Have another discussion with another boss, something like that. But the hard choice means in the end, the implication will be big. Okay, any question? Ada soalan? So here are some of the case study. You can have a look. As I mentioned, case studies, there's no right or wrong. Okay, you just need to think and then write the best of your ability. And it helps if your English is good. Okay, because you'll be able to express your ideas better. But if your English is not very good, make sure you don't have to write long sentences. You can read, put in points, but make sure it's a complete sentence. Don't just put like one or two. It's not good. Okay, any question?
Madam,
Yes.
can I ask you how many the page you want for the case study?
Who's asking?
Amir Raiman. Okay.
Siapa?
Sini.
Tak nampak.
Amirul Aiman.
Okay, Amirul Aiman. Okay, thank you. How many pages? Good question.
Yeah.
Dia tak ada lah jawapan. There's no like exact answer to that. But I would say rule of thumb, it shouldn't be less than 3 pages. Shouldn't be less than 3 pages. Okay.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
To minimum to pass. Okay. Any more question?
Okay, madam. For the case studies, the samples that you uploaded, should we pick one of them, or we just can come up with any idea that can?
Don't worry about that. The question will be given tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
There's a specific question for all sections, so it's not out yet.
Okay.
So I will give you a link where you can find the question tomorrow, and also a link to upload your answer. Okay.
Okay.
So then you'll be given, I think, 4 days starting tomorrow. And again, please do not copy. I will check into plagiarism software. Okay. Any other question?
Assalamualaikum, madam.
Assalamualaikum. Yes, Mahmoud.
Can we have more time for the submission date, because this week and the following week we have like too much material, so we can submit a proper case study.
What midterm you say?
I have 2 midterm. I have math 4 and vibration.
When's your midterm?
I have the first one is in 3rd of July and the second one in 6th of July.
And anybody else in the same problem? Having the same problem? Only Mahmoud
Yes,
alone?
madam.
Huh?
Me too.
Who are you?
Amir Raiman.
Huh?
Amirul Raiman.
Amirul, okay. Sorry. Right. Only 2 of you. The rest no problem, huh? The rest no problem. So should we sacrifice these two?
Madam, me too.
Okay,
Yeah, I
I
have
will
a lot of
discuss.
submission.
Sorry?
I don't have midterm this week, but I have many submissions.
Many, when's the deadline of the submission?
I have on Friday, I have on Wednesday tomorrow, and I have two on Friday. I have a presentation on Friday.
Okay, I will discuss with the other lecturers and see how. Okay? Make a lot of dua. Hopefully they will say okay. If okay, then we'll change the dates. Okay. Alright. So maybe can you write down your dates on the WhatsApp so I can just forward it to my group, the lecturer group. So I have like evidence that when's the date. Okay, so you have dates of submission of assignment, write down assignment submission, or is it a midterm, put the dates there and put the subject, the course. Okay. Alright, any other question? No? So basically that's it for the case study. If you don't understand, you can ask me question later. But during the case study, if I give you the case study, it depends on me whether to answer or no. If I think I already covered in the class, then I will not answer. But if I think I should have covered but haven't, then I will answer it to you. Okay? So you can ask me question there. Okay. So So last week there's no class on Thursday, right? So to cover the class, do you want a class or you want to watch videos only? You choose.
Watch video, madam. Watch video.
Who wants to watch video, put a reaction. Reaction you kena tekan kat bawah tu, kadang saya tak nampak tau. You need to put reaction at the bottom. Okay. Okay. Majority of you wants video. Good. I also want video. I'm glad that you actually choose video. So, right. So, but make sure. Okay, I will make a form for you to tick that you actually watch the video. Okay. If you don't watch the video, and Allah is the witness, I will not check whether you actually watch or no. If you tick there, it means that you already watched the whole of the videos. There are 2 videos. Then then you tick. Okay. Then we're going to discuss in the next class, inshallah. So I will give you the link of the videos are inside the YouTube. Is the topic of so you need to watch it before the next class. You need to watch it before Thursday. So the topic is on unethical issues in engineering practices. And also Islamic view on natural disaster and harmful hazard. Okay. So 6 and 7, week 6 and week 7. Kita week berapa dah tak tahu dah sekarang ni. So week 6, if somebody can write down in the WhatsApp, so you need to watch all the videos for week 6 and week 7 on your own time. I'll make a tick for you to tick whether if you've done it. Okay, good. So I think if you have no question, let's end the class today with I want you to watch a video. I will show it here, a short video. I'll share the screen here. And this video was in the BBC News last night. Have you watched all the news that I gave to you in the in the WhatsApp? Yes, no? I put one news on the Yemen and another news on hackers. It's very important. Hackers are very dangerous nowadays. They demand ransom from a university, and the university have to pay 1 million ringgit. If let's say because they can disclose and the university will get sued. It's like crazy. But as an ethics, right? Because that's why when you have knowledge, you can do anything. But how do you use your knowledge? That's why ethics is very important. even for the non-Muslim. Okay, let's watch this video. You see? Huh? Can you
Yes,
see?
madam.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sewage. Every year we produce 1 million tons of it in the UK, and it produces its own waste, heat. Interest is growing in how to use this waste heat as a sustainable energy source. And here in East Anglia, it's being used in the building of a unique greenhouse project, which could revolutionize our country's farming industry. This will be the world's first greenhouse that is using heat from a water treatment plant, and that has the benefit of not only reducing the impact on the environment, but also reducing the UK's need to import produce. In the UK, we consume over 500,000 tons of fresh tomatoes every year. 80% of this, around 400,000 tons, is imported. The same goes for cucumbers and peppers. We import 75% of our cucumbers and 90% of peppers. These new greenhouses could not only help make the UK self-sufficient in produce, but also reduce carbon emissions by 75%. So Ben, we're now walking into the greenhouse. Blimey, it's really, really big.
Certainly one of the largest in terms of the UK. For every hectare of normal land, a greenhouse like this can produce 10 times more food using 10 times less water. We'd be looking at growing probably about 23 million peppers a year
Wow.
from this particular facility.
So what is that as a percentage of the amount of consumption of peppers in the UK?
I'd say probably 5%.
A conventional greenhouse might use fossil fuels to provide its heat by burning gas or oil. But here the waste heat from the nearby sewage works is pumped 2.5 kilometers via an enclosed loop system to the greenhouse. The idea to use this waste heat came from thermal engineer Neil Lawson.
Well, it was inspiration from nature, really. Walking down the river with a dog on a winter's day, saw a stream coming in from the left and it was steaming and all the ducks were sitting on there, obviously enjoying the warmth. So I followed that stream up to its source and came up to the sewage treatment works. They were discharging 1,000 litres a second of clean water into the river at up to 25 degrees centigrade. That equates to 54 megawatts worth of waste heat. That's enough heating for about 15,000 homes.
Using geographic information system mapping, 43 sites close to wastewater centres have been identified around the country, including the Anglian Water Treatment Plant near Bury St Edmunds. So we're now at the water recycling plant, where this treated water will then be pumped into a station and the heat will be removed from that process, and then the heat will be transferred to the greenhouse.
We're taking a low source energy, which is otherwise a waste energy, using heat pumps to upgrade or compress that low grade heat to make it useful heat to heat a greenhouse. A greenhouse uses a lot of energy. Here we have an abundant source available.
Another benefit to this new farming technique is reducing reliance on countries where water is no longer so abundant.
Parts of southern Spain, actually, their groundwater now is saline, and they're having to develop saline-resistant crops. Whereas here in the UK, we don't have that problem. It rains all the time. We can get all the water we need from capturing it on the roof, recycling it.
And that's not all the roof can do.
And the entire roof is designed to maximise the amount of light that comes into it. And so much so that the glass is diffuse, and it enables the light to be spread evenly across the entire crop. It's going to be an extremely high-tech greenhouse. It's actually quite remarkable. It might look unassuming, but actually there's a lot of artificial intelligence included in the environmental computers. All the vents are controlled by artificial intelligence. They're constantly scanning Met Office data for prevailing wind directions.
The trend for computer-driven farming is growing. A 6-month autonomous greenhouse competition was recently held in the Netherlands. Teams fully automated the process of growing tomatoes. Sensors, camera detection, and models provided the needed information to get the plants the exact nutrients. And of course, robots play a role in greenhouse production, and here they will be deployed to help carry vegetables around the central aisle to the pack house. There are no plans to use robots like this sweeper bot to help pick the produce yet. But the coronavirus pandemic has highlighted the need to think about growing food locally and perhaps with limited human involvement.
No one knows what the future holds, so with this particular pandemic, let's say the virus could mutate and all of a sudden we don't have enough food. We've benefited from unrestricted movement and free movement of goods as well, and that may be set to change. If we don't have a bit more resilience in the UK on our food production, there could be issues down the line.
These issues could disappear depending on the success of this project. If all 43 sites were up and running, low-carbon farming say they could produce all of the UK's tomato requirements and at least half of its peppers. Until then, the first shipments from here are expected to hit the supermarkets next spring.
Okay, so we only have 7 minutes left. So if you look there in the videos, did you manage to watch it? Did you manage to watch it? Ada clear tak? Was it clear?
Yes, very clear, madam.
Okay, good. So from the video, it shows the role of engineers, how to help the world. This is also part of the being benefit to society and using whatever resources we have. It's very smart. So they're using the waste of we call it the waste plant, where a lot of waste go there, and there's a lot of thermal heat over there. So they brings the heat to the greenhouse because they don't have heat in UK. In Malaysia, we have a lot of heat. We have other problems. So each engineer in each country need to think what are the problems of our country and solve it. And the problem of all countries nowadays are food. Okay, and I just want to mention before we end, I think countries like Malaysia and like developing countries need to work on the agriculture. If you have the means and passion for agriculture, should go and should learn and use your engineering knowledge on how to help the agriculture people, because the farmers, they don't know about technology. It's us who's supposed to help the farmers or the people in agriculture to make it better. You know, our rice in Malaysia, 90% of the rice that we eat, that you eat every day, 90% are imported. You know where do we import the rice from? No? We import mostly from Thailand. Thailand mostly. And let's say one day Thailand boycott us. Yeah, Thailand doesn't want to sell any of the rice to us. What will happen to Malaysia? We are not growing our own rice, and I think you will go crazy if like 1 month without eating rice, right? Can you? I think I might go crazy, but no. So we need to think of to our country, what can we contribute to our country? So I think Malaysia needs good agriculture technology people, which not enough nowadays. Thailand is very good technologically on the agriculture, but the rest is maybe Malaysia is in front. But in terms of agriculture, not very much. And it goes the same to all Muslim countries. So we should. So these are the things that we need to open our mind of the problems, and in order to know what the problems are, we need to read a lot. You need to read what happens in the world, what happens in Malaysia, in order we can come up with a solution. And I hope your case study, your project will also contribute, if it's not big, small, to make the world a better place, inshallah. Okay. Hopefully, any problem with your project up till now? Anybody have problems? Have you started or no? If you're not started, it'll be a problem. So try to start. If it's not big, just start. If you don't start now, you do everything last minute, the project cannot be done last minute. And I read some of you said you're worried it's 50% of the marks of group. Yes, it'll be 50%, but there'll be individual marks in the presentation. If you cannot answer, you don't know what the project is about, then you will not have contribution on the individual marks. And so make sure you know what the project is about and you have contribution to the project. If we ask a question and then you don't have contribution, we will deduct marks there. Okay, so it won't be 50% the same for the whole group. There will be some variation. Okay, there'll be some individual contribution. So okay, so if you have any problem, let me know about the project. Don't wait until the last minute. You have problems, and I know you face problem during the project. It's fine. To face problem is normal when you do a real life project. But you need to identify early so that you can mitigate it early. If you know it late, then that's it. That's it. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. That's it. We have nothing to, we cannot do anything. But if it's early, we can find ways. Okay, brothers and sisters, I think that's all. 2 minutes. Can we close the class with the dua, please? Can we have a brother who never recited the dua here to make a dua? Any dua? Do you know that, in Islam, if somebody pushes you, brothers, if somebody push you to make azan, you cannot say no. Do you know that? You cannot say no. If somebody push you to make azan, you need to make the azan. So here, because why? Because Islam is teaching the brothers to become leaders. It's a sin for you to refuse. So, but it's not a sin lah. But the one who never,
in Malay.
In Malay? In Malay, okay lah, in Malay, Muaz, kan, in Malay.
Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Have you recited Luqman before?
Yes, inside
I want
class.
somebody who haven't recited. I want a new person. Why out of many brothers here, nobody dares to make dua? I don't understand. I want somebody else. Okay, Afiq. Have you recited before?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, but next time can you recite it louder? I don't think many of us can hear, Afiq. Leader dia kena bold, leader kena kuat, leader need to be in front. Okay, thank you very much. Let's close with tasbih kifara and surat al-As. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilaik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asr. Innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus solihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. As I mentioned in the WhatsApp, today we be going through important elements on what do you call it, to answer case study question. So starting tomorrow, I will give you this is assignment, which is how much is the assignment? I think 30%. Okay, 30% of your course. So the assignment, you'll be given only 4 days to complete the assignment. So you'll be given a case study and you are supposed to answer the case study. So it's open book. You can go and read wherever you want to read. But please don't plagiarize. I will submit for plagiarism. If the plagiarism is more than 30%, straight away you will get 0. Okay, that's a that's a warning. So if you want to read, it's okay, but make sure you don't copy. If it's copy and if the plagiarism detects a 30% or more of your assignment, then there's no discussion. I will not discuss. I will just give us 0 straight away. Okay, so that's a warning. But you are welcome to go and read. Make sure you understand and try to digest and answer it on your own. Okay, so I will share. So today I will share my slides. You can find my slides in the Gen Info for the folder that I gave you, right? There's a slides folder and there's Madam Fazlin. If you go into that folder, I put the slides for today. Okay, so you can open it. I will also open here. If your friends want to join but cannot, let me know. Because I don't think I can see after I share my screen. Okay. Can you see? I cannot hear you.
Yes, madam.
Okay. For those who just joined, please, what do you call it? Write down your name and metric number for attendance. Okay. Okay. So you can find these slides and other extra references in the folder that I told you, right? It's in the Gen Info. So in the Gen Info, there's a slide folder and my name, Madam Fazlin. Go there. There'll be this slide and also other references as well, if you want to read. Okay, so case study. So in ethics, in engineering ethics or ethics, is normal as is actually one of the most important element in ethics to be able to analyze cases. So case study means we give you a case, like a scenario, and you are supposed to analyze it and come up with a solution. Okay, and how to solve the problem in terms of ethics. So if you cannot hear me, let me know. Okay, so mana slide ni? Okay. So of all case study, what do you call it? Slide. This is the most important slide. Oh no. Betul. Alright, this is correct. So this is the most important slide. So when if I give you a case study, you're supposed to cover all the what all three, 1, 2, 3, and including A, B, C, D. Okay. So make sure the elements there, because the marks will be given on that. And I remember last time I told the student you need to cover this, but there are many also students who didn't put the elements there. So you won't get good marks if you don't follow this what do you call it, flow of answering, because because it's logical to answer it like that. So make sure you have, and when you write down, you have this 3 segment clearly what do you call it, written on your assignment. Okay, so before that, let me give you an example of a case study. Case study like this. We give you a lot of words, right? XYZ Corporation permits an employee to borrow company tools. Engineer A, one house took full advantage of this. He went on step further. So this is typical case study. We'll give you like a paragraph or more of a situation, and you are supposed to analyze it. Okay, so how to analyze it? Now let's go back to the slide. Previous slide. Number 1, okay, you should include the identification of the problem or issues. If you don't understand anything, just ask me question along the way. So identification of the problem or issues. So sometimes in one scenario, there may be more than one problem. Okay, so you need to read carefully. So you need to highlight what are the problems or problems. So and after this, we'll go through what types of problems are possible. Okay, and do not confuse between symptoms and problems. Symptoms are indicators of a problem. So you need to, sometimes it's long, so the paragraph is long. So you need to read carefully and you need to identify which are the symptoms or which are the problem. Do you know how to differentiate? If you're quiet, then I assume you know. So I don't have.
Madam.
Huh?
There's a student want to enter.
Okay, thank you. Klik ni. Okay, dah. Thank you. So, do you so are you clear about how to the difference between symptoms and a problem? Quiet means you know.
Can you give an example, madam? Symptoms, problem.
One of the easiest way is to look at like medical, right? So for example, medically, not in engineering. For example, the patient comes with right, coughing and what do you call it, chest pain. So that's symptoms. So you don't know what is it. It shows leading to a problem. The real problem in the end, after you do some analysis, the problem is you connect the symptoms, and you know actually the problem is maybe he got COVID-19 something. The problem is the problem, but symptoms is the one that leading to the problem. So when you read a case study, you need to identify which one are the link. The symptoms. Okay, so X mode. Having the mic. Okay, I muted. Right. So what did I say? So that's a problem. Sometimes there are many problems. So there are a few symptoms. So you need to read carefully in order to link which symptoms to which problem. So as a case study, there's no right or wrong. There's no. It's a very subjective. It's not like 1 + 1 = 2. There might be many different answers. So you need to really understand it and answer in your own way. So your friends maybe answer it in a different way. Okay. So as a examiner, I will read everything and see if your answer is logical or no. Right? If it's not logical, then I will argue why should you get the marks. But if it's logical, then and you have data and facts from the case study, then I will consider. So case study, there's no right or wrong. You just need to analyze, understand from your perspective, and try to convince the examiner, that your answer, you have a solid ground for your answer. So number 1 is identification of the problems or issues. Okay, so you need to, maybe if there's 5 problems, write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, list down. It can be in terms of essay, or for me, I prefer you write in terms of points, right, rather than essay, because if essay is too much, if your English is broken, it will get me, agitated. I will get really angry because I cannot understand your English, and if I cannot understand your English, it becomes worse to find the answer. So if it's points, even points, don't put like 1, 2 words. You need to have a full sentence. Put points but full sentence. You don't just like he is sick, something like that. You need to elaborate. Otherwise, you don't get a lot of marks. Okay. So that's number 1, identification of problem issues. Number 2 is problem analysis. Once you identify the problem, then you need to analyze the problem. Okay, so number 1, identification is just like a statement. The problem is maybe the company is having financial difficulty. That's education of a problem. So problem analysis, you need to discuss the problem. Why is the company having a financial difficulty, and the reasons for the problems to occur identified. So if it's enough information, you need to find the reasons for the problem. Why is the company having a financial problem? Okay, sometimes for these are tips, case study. Sometimes the case study is very short. It's not enough information. So sometimes you need to make your own assumption. Okay, in engineering, it's normal to make assumption. I don't know whether you do mathematics, right? A lot of assumption. In engineering as well, because we don't know many things in life. So sometimes we assume. So whenever you assume, right, if you write a case study, whenever you assume, make sure you write your assumption. This is my assumption. Double dot, number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay, if you can assume. So you are, and the assumption must be logical lah, relating it to the case study. So you cannot say, you can assume, for example, maybe the problem happens in this COVID-19, so something, because in the statement it doesn't say COVID-19 or anything. So you can assume, okay, as long as it's logical, it will be accepted. And also when you do the problem analysis, you need to think of the consequences to all parties. So when you discuss a problem, what are the consequences of the problem to other people? For example, consequence to the environment, consequence to the public, consequence to the employer, to the company, consequence to you, right? So you need to cover all angles, right? So when you analyze the problem, all parties that involved should be included in the problem analysis. Okay, the deeper you go, the more detail that you write, there'll be more marks on it. It shows that you are thinking. So we want to analyze whether you can think or no. Okay, and do not copy your friend, because as I said, I'll put it into the plagiarism. So if detect 30%, then I will not discuss. I will say there's no discussion. You will only know the marks at the end and say that's it. Get 0. So I'll be very strict on this. And you only have 4 days. So starting tomorrow, 4 days. So you need to concentrate on that. 30% of your course assessment. Number 3, identification of alternative. Once you do the problem statement, first identify the problem. Number 2, analyze the problem. Number 3, you need to find solution. You need to think what are the solutions to the problem. So identification of alternative causes of action. Causes of action means what can you do to solve the problem. And it can be more than one. Okay, normally you have to give more than one. If only one, it means that you're not thinking, or you're not thinking enough. Because in life, you need to have like plan A, plan B, plan C. So what are sometimes you can, when you identify alternative solution or causes of actions, it can be you just brainstorm, put everything. It may not make sense. For example, say maybe he needs to jump the building, something like that. Say so it may not be a good solution. So when number 3A, you need to evaluate the alternative action. So then you say solution number 1 is good, why, and not good, why, pro and cons. And each of the solution, you need to come with the evaluation of the solution. Okay, so the more you think, the more you will have identification of alternative solution or causes of action. So I would suggest you to have, this is minimum of 3. Minimum. Do more than minimum. Minimum you get pass lah. Okay, you do less than 3, you won't get pass. So if you want better marks, have more. So, and also when you identify the alternative solution, is there any guidance given by the relevant code of ethics? So you can go and read. For example, in Malaysia, we have we not covered yet in our classes. But if you look in the what do you call it, document that I gave, or list of all the YouTube videos, there's one on code of ethics. You can watch that. I already made it. So there is what do you call it, Board of Engineers Malaysia. So you can go and Google what are the Board of Engineers Malaysia. There are a lot of manuals. Is there any relevant code for this? Right. So you can take that, put into your possible solution. Okay, any question up to here? Ada soalan?
No, madam.
No.
No.
Okay. So then, okay, so in part 3, in part of the identification of alternative causes of action or solution, you need to evaluate of the solution. This step involves evaluation of the various alternatives. So you need to evaluate all the alternatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, and justification, and then after you evaluate, then you need to choose one. So for example, you have 5 or 6 of your solutions, right? But based on the evaluation of the, the solution, you think the best is to take solution number 3, for example, and you need to justify the choice of action. Why in the end you choose solution number 3, okay? And make sure it's very strong lah. Make sure it's very strong. You need to and then the action plan. So if you choose that solution, what are you going to do? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay, what's the action of plan? And in the end, you need to also write implication of the decision. For example, you take solution number 3. What is the implication of the decision? It will affect who? The employer, the employee, the environment. What is the implication? Okay, basically, to answer the case study, you need to cover all this. Okay, any question? No? No? Okay, now number 1, identification of problems or issues. There are 3 types of problems or issues. This is to guide you how to think of the problem and issues. So for the problem or issues, there are 3 types. Number 1 is factual, number 2 is conceptual, and number 3 is conflicting values or moral. Okay, so it will be helpful when you answering the case study to write whether the problem is actually factual, conceptual, or conflicting. Sometimes there are most of it there must be factual problem. Okay, and then maybe there will be some conceptual. Sometimes maybe there's no conflicting values or moral. So depending on the case study, you need to identify which one. So what is these 3? Okay, these 3, factual, I guess you can read here. Factual means, and I keep on, I will emphasize this. I remember last class I emphasized it and still the student got it wrong. I don't know why. Maybe the student didn't pay attention or didn't come to the class. Factual issues means when you number 1, identification of issues or problem. So if it's a factual issue, it means what facts are known about the case. Facts. Okay, when I say facts, it's clear. It must be stated. For example, 5 tons of toxic waste are being dumped into the sea, right? So it's factual. Okay, so it cannot be, it needs to be very clear, written in the case study, what are the facts. So conceptual is different. It's something that you think might be happening. So factual issues, you state what are the facts inside the case study. Any of the aspects of the case controversial, what relevant information is missing or unknown. So maybe you can write the factual problem ialah maybe is you will say the what do you call it, report of the dumping of the toxic waste is missing. We can write something like that. Okay, so it means that everything which is clear cut, which is there and not there. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is conceptual issues. What does it mean? It just means that something that's conflicting. For example, I give you can you read over here? Conceptual issue is a disagreement over a definition of a concept that is crucial to resolving a problem. So for example, something that not clear. For example, your boss states, the case study states, the building need to be safe. Okay, so the contract says you need to build a building which is safe. Now the conceptual issue is that the problem is that what is safe. Okay, for maybe to your boss, the safe means it will not shake if there's the building will stay intact and maybe can last for like 50 years. But your definition of safe is that if there's an earthquake, the building will not shake. Okay, so the definition of safe, we have a difference in definition of safe. So conceptual issues is things that you are not clear. Anything not clear. Okay, so sometimes factual issue not much. Conceptual issue there's a lot, because once you read the case study, you say not clear. What's the what's the problem? Maybe the problem is like this. Okay, so factual issues, things that you are really clear. Anything which is not clear is dumped into conceptual issues. Okay, any question? Alamak. Okay, then the third one is conflicting or values or morals. This one, the difference between the two is something about your moral standing. For example, most of it are it's about your belief, whether it's spiritual or your inner belief. Some people believe, for example, values or moral, you're going to make, I don't know, you're going to, what's a good example of this? You're going to make or design a building that will be used for pride gatherings. You know what pride is? The capital Pride. Anybody knows? Hello? Anybody knows? Very quiet lah this class. Nobody knows? Nobody read the news?
Madam, is it the LGBT events?
Okay, who are you?
Nurul Ain.
Kat mana awak? Nurul Ain, okay, thank you. Yes, it's the LGBT events, right? So if you read the news now, we are not allowed to parade with more than a lot of people, right? So they're doing it virtual. I think it's crazy. So that's moral issues. Spiritual for us, it's not right. But to many other out there, that is right. So conflicting of values or moral is something like that. Whether you think it's wrong, it's just wrong. There's no law static. Maybe there's law. Now there's a law. But something inside you says it's wrong. Okay, so normally it's about belief and moral, and it's about your religion or spirituality. So will you do it, right? So if you get salary out of it, people are offering you 1 million to build a building. Will you make the building or no? Okay, there's a conflicting values or moral problem. Okay, sometimes as I said, if you're given a problem, maybe sometimes there's there, something's not. Okay. For example, what do you call it? Ngumpat apa bahasa Inggeris?
Talk back, talk shit.
Backbiting.
Apa?
Backbiting.
Talk back, backbiting. Backbiting. Thank you. So backbiting. Do you think ethically backbiting, is it right or wrong? I mean from the Western point of backbiting.
Wrong. Very wrong.
From the Western side? Who said that? Okay, if you think it's from the Western side, if you think it's wrong, put a reaction. Do you understand my question? If you think it's wrong from the Western side, put a reaction. Okay, I can see one. Omar Khalid say it's wrong from Western point. And then Safwan, Amir, Ashraf. Apa ni tak nampak? Muhammad Afiq. Okay. Alright. Alamak, hilang. You know, just to tell you a story, what is backbiting? That's a good question. Can you tell me what is backbiting? One person please. Alamak, we left with 10 minutes. Okay, who knows what is backbiting? none of the international Islamic university student knows what backbiting is?
Madam, I think backbiting is talking about someone behind his back, which means like you're talking about him, but he's not there to see what you are talking about, and you're mentioning like bad things or bad stuff about him, and he's not there to say yeah if this is right or wrong, and you're telling the people about it, but he's not here to defend himself.
All right, thank you. Who are you?
Omar Khalid.
Okay, you don't have a video?
Yeah, I have. Just 1 second.
Why didn't you turn it on? Huh?
Yeah, it's me.
So Omar, every time I say in the class, you need to turn on your camera. Okay? I don't have to say every class. I stated in the first class. So part of the ethics of learning online, if you can turn on your video, all of you have to. Okay? So I'm not checking. I'm assuming that I can trust all of you. If you cannot, it's fine. But if you can, Allah is the witness, okay? Allah knows that whether you can turn on, so you need to turn on. Okay, good. Good answer by Omar. So the answer is backbiting is when you talk about somebody and behind his or her back, right? And it can be anything that makes the person not happy what you say. Okay. What's the difference between fitnah and backbiting?
Backbiting, you said about people witness behind their back, while fitnah is false statement about person. Okay, good. So the main difference between fitnah and backbiting is that fitnah is it's a lie, it's false. So if you are telling something true about a person behind his back, it's called backbiting, mengumpat. And what does Islam says about backbiting? Anybody? Anybody? It's okay to do backbiting. If not, what's the dalil? And there's a lot of backbiting. You're talking about a lecturer behind his or her back, and the lecturer doesn't like what you say, is backbiting. And you know, in the day of judgment, when all of if you need to give your reward, your ajar to the person that you do backbiting. So you need to be extremely careful with what we say. And sometimes, you know, being a quiet person is much better than person with a lot of mouth, because then in the day of judgment, although that person doesn't know that you actually backbite, but you will get all your reward be given. And in the end, if all of your reward is gone, you finish up all your reward, you have to take their sins to carry on your back. That's how dangerous backbiting is. So fitnah is even more. You are telling, oh, you know, Amirul Aiman, I see him like copying his friend's job, right? That's maybe, so it's not true. That's fitnah. Now, in backbiting, that's part of the values or moral, because if you look, it doesn't say anywhere in the secular or Western that it's wrong. Okay, it's okay for them. It's okay to backbite. That's why when I was in UK, we all of us are put into one lab. We have a cubicle, not cubicle, it's like just a table, one seat over here, just next to each other, by all students. And I was there. I'm the only Muslim, and we have like Chinese, Christians, and also the English, the Englishmen. They're all Christians over there. Most of them Christians, some of them Buddhists. So when for us, we don't talk back. We don't talk bad of a people at the back. So if you have to talk, we have to say in front.
Okay, but for them, because there's no this kind of understanding in their religion or in their faith or in their moral. So I remember every time, so like a person come to that room and they will what do you call it, address them nicely. Oh, talk very nice to that person, and then once the person is out of the door, just go out of the door, they will talk the bad things about that person. And for me, that's like a shocking lah, because you know we don't do that. For them, that's normal because they never ever being taught that that's wrong. So backbiting or so that be a conflicting values or moral part of it, right? So for us, you don't backbite, but for them, what's the problem of backbiting? They don't have this concept of sin when you do backbiting. Okay, so at that time it was difficult for me because then I had to hear this backbiting, and normally I would just like in the end I would just go out of the room, say I want to go to the toilet or something, because and if they can do to other people, it means that they can do it to you, right? If they can backbite other people, it means they can do to you. In Islam, there's an ayah about backbiting, ghibah. You can find it on your own. Okay, go and Google ghibah or backbiting in Islam. There's an ayah in the Quran that Allah states about what's the similarity of people who do backbiting. Okay, so these are three when you are discussing this identification of problems or issues, you divide it into three things: factual, conceptual, and also moral, if there's any. Okay, and the factual can be 1 or 2, or conceptual can 1, 2, 3. It depends. It depends how you read the case study and how do you understand the case study. Okay, any question? There are people who want to join, just join. So you miss something.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Madam, if you're recording this class, can you go to the Google Drive file, because it has a lot of information about the case study that we can refer to it later if we need it.
Okay. Yes. You mean the recording of this class?
Yeah, the session, the recording of that.
Yes, I will put in my normally all the recordings I put in my YouTube channel. You can go there. Okay. Every class I put it there. But the as I mentioned, the references, others I put in the Gen A4, in the slides, in Madam Fazlin, inside that folder. Madam Fazlin, you can find this slide and also the other references. Okay. For those who just came, you can write down your attendance in the chat. Okay, so we have less than a minute. Let's have a break for 5 minutes and we'll come back. Okay, we'll continue the case study. If you have question, you can think of a question when we return. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.